Now this, you really hate to see. And especially at tier 10. This kind of map position is rough. I expect, I guess, that people have learned a little bit of the basics of this game by the time you get to tier 10. At least you hope so. But apparently not always. So in this one, just take a look at the map and where my team is going to end up. This is going to be, well, it's a loss based on the team positioning. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am going to be incredibly useless this game. I should have recognized what was going on, and I should have played differently. And I'm going to talk about what I could have done differently. Probably wouldn't change the outcome of the match, but I could have played differently to make things a little bit closer. So just know that I'm not going to be, this isn't going to be a complaining video. This is going to be a, what could have I done differently? But it is interesting to see my entire team come over to this flank. And specifically on this map, you really have to at least contest both sides. You don't have to win both sides, but at least have a presence on both sides of the map. Otherwise, you very literally get caught in a quarter of the map. It's very evenly divided into quarters, this map, and if the enemy team gets a hold of 3/4 of the map, you're pretty much guaranteed a loss. So I understand that this game is not the easiest thing in the world to learn, especially given that there's really no information given by the game to kind of let you know where you want to play, how you want to play. You're just kind of, okay, click battle and you go. You do your thing. And in this match, like I said, I'm going to be very useless. I was nearing the end of a stream at this point, so I didn't really want to play too seriously in this one and get upset about a team that is probably going to lose anyway. So where could have I played? I could have played in C. That's where I should have been. I'm in a Moskva, I'm in a radar cruiser, and I should have been in C. But I'm not. I am in a position at the back of the map being useless, farming damage. And that's what I wanted to do this game, honestly. I went into it thinking, okay, I need my snowflake on the Moskva. Moskva with the legendary mod is a really good long-range farming ship, and it's relaxing, easy to play. That's what I went into this as, but if we're looking to win the game, we're going to try and push C. That's what we need to. I needed to recognize my team at this point has completely given up the A flank, and we need to have a strong presence in C. So having an extra radar, maybe some defensive fire, extra AA support, that kind of thing would have helped my team a ton. I probably would have died, given that there's a carrier, and playing on an island as a cruiser against a carrier, like I mentioned in my last video, doesn't tend to go well, but it is an Immelman, so I might have gotten away with it. You can see the enemy Moskva is actually in a much better position than I am. He's leaving it though, but if he would have held on that island, that would have been an amazing position for him to play. That's really what it comes down to, recognizing what your team is doing, and it's possible to win matches like this. I'm not saying it isn't. That's the really interesting thing about this game, is you can make some bad decisions on positioning and still win games. And it really does come down to, well, if we're all on this one side of the map, we have to win it. So aggressive pushes with your entire team, and you probably can win matches like this in random battles. The teamwork side is a little bit hard to coordinate in this game, given that, well, it's randoms, right? You don't control your teammates. But in this one, I do think I could have done a much better job. By being at C, I would have provided so much information for my team, right? Just having that radar there, having that extra defensive fire would have helped my team a ton. So I think that either C or maybe even B at this point, in between C and B, that kind of thing, is where I should have been playing. You can see my team is kind of stalled out there, right? They kind of formed this line on the G line. They're really not sure what to do, where to go, how to push. They don't have information on what's ahead of them. And a radar could have helped a ton with that. So poor positioning on my part, but we're going to play the Moskva as this kind of long-range AG spammer that it's so good at. And I think in this next little bit here, you're going to see exactly why I love propulsion mod on my cruisers. It is so good for dodging salvos. It really is. You maybe could get away with something like the damage control, or maybe even rudder shift if you're going at full speed most of the time. but I do find myself often getting into situations where I just want to hold position and move forward and back and forward and back. We're going to not dodge everything, but we're going to dodge quite a bit and rack up quite a bit of potential damage. At this point, yeah, this map position is just hilarious, isn't it? We've got no caps, and yeah, this is not looking so good, that's for sure. And that's why, again, being in the C cap or trying to contest the B cap would have given our team so much more information and stalling a cap, right? Cap points are ticking, and assuming you have all 3 caps in domination, it actually ticks pretty quick. It's not the fastest tick, it's not like the epicenter ones or maybe an arms race. That one is insanely fast, that final cap zone. But given that you have all 3 caps, they tick quick enough that the game is going to be over very, very, very soon. But Moskva, as you can see, is a very easy ship to use at longer ranges. For those of you that don't have it, I don't know if it's necessarily worth giving up all that coal for, especially since it doesn't really offer that interesting of a playstyle. It's much harder to push in with this ship compared to something like the Petro that you can get for free. Well, it costs your time, basically, to grind it out, but you know, you're not spending your major resources, right? It's still a really strong ship, though. You have a incredibly good radar, especially now that Stalin has been nerfed on its radar duration. We looked at that yesterday. And you've got one of the longest range, longest duration radars in the game. Still very strong, pretty good for competitive, too. It's just that, like the Stalin, you no longer have fire prevention, so it's not quite as tanky to fires, but intelligent use of your throttle in situations like this, you can dodge a lot. We're already up to 1 million potential damage in a cruiser, which is admittedly a very tanky cruiser, but it is still a cruiser. And we're farming down these battleships quite well. The fire chance is good, and most importantly, the shell velocity is really good. So if you're someone who maybe wants to play something like the Des Moines, but you find yourself struggling with leading, that kind of thing, Moskva is really, really nice, where you don't have to focus so hard on leading your shots, predicting where the enemy's going to go. You almost can just point and click on people given the shell velocity, right? It's less than 10 seconds out to 18 kilometers range. That's pretty quick. Our Holland, as you can see, has capped C now, and you know, is trying to keep this game alive. And our team is actually kind of pushed back towards A little bit now as well. So you can see how if I had been a little more aggressive in this game, used my radar better, helped maybe get rid of their DD, because there's only 1 destroyer and 1 submarine, this game could have turned around. Afterwards, of course, looking back on things, it's very easy to see what you did wrong. In the moment, of course, it's a little harder to know what to do and what the right positioning play is. And it's not like I'm doing anything particularly wrong here. You know, we're getting good damage here, and at the end score, you're going to see that I'm actually top on this team. But that doesn't mean that I contributed to the win, or I was the most impactful player on this team, right? That's not really what the end scores card actually tells you, right? That's one of the unfortunate parts about ranked and the save star system. Just a little miniature aside there, that the save star system is really bad for ranked just because you can play a game to save a star, and that really doesn't help your team win. And that's kind of the unfortunate thing about ranked, is then you're incentivized to play to save your star, not incentivized to win. So if I were to change it, I would just remove the save star mechanic, and that way everybody would try and play positions, play their ship in a way to win. But let's not get too deep into that discussion for now. You can see moving forward and back is pretty good. We're dodging a lot of these salvos, and that is a Hindenburg and a Thunder. So pretty scary HE spam against me, given that the Hindenburg can full pen through my 50mm plating, and of course we all know how good Thunderer HE is, right? In this position, of course, I'm trying to get myself in an area where I can go dark if I want to. Moskva, of course, has some pretty poor concealment, much like Stalingrad around that 14-kilometer mark. So it's hard to go dark. It's hard to get undetected if you're under too much fire. But these very good arcs and the ship just being really good at long range allows you to play positions like this where you can potentially um, go dark like this and not get shot at. It's really quite nice to play like this, and unfortunately in this game, like I said, it did lead to our team not being able to pull out the win on this occasion. But you can see our Montana, Smolensk, battleships on the other side of the map. They're pushing hard. They tried. They ended up dying, but they definitely tried more than I did. And yet, in this end screen, you're going to see I was top on the team, even though I was very useless. So I don't know what the exact point of this video was, but maybe just a little PSA to try to be helpful for your team, unlike me here, and try to play both sides of the map. Don't just go to one and Lemming train. Like I said in yesterday's video, the captain I'm using is Kuznetsov, just because I can throw him around on all of these premium cruisers and make use of his pretty broken special talent, right? When you get on low HP, it damage controls for you and gives worse dispersion to the enemy team for around 30 seconds. So, and you get a heal. He's just by far the best commander in the entire game. So I'm gonna use him on as many ships as I can, and that sometimes means not quite optimizing the build for the specific ship I'm playing, but I do think this is a decent build for the Moskva. It's maybe a little too heavy on the AA skills that are arguable if they do anything, but it works well enough to have some decent games. You can see I am using the legendary mod. The extra range and accuracy is really nice to have, but reload's also good. And so is his range, honestly. These three are all pretty solid options. I just like the I like the extra accuracy, you know. I'm someone who enjoys having my shells go where I'm aiming. Concealment's pretty standard, I think. And also propulsion mod. I think that's a standard build for Moskva, especially since you only have the 30-second fires to deal with, unlike the larger battle cruisers. Again, accuracy. Radar mod, and that bumps our radar, as you can see, up to 36 seconds. Stalingrad is 10 seconds slower? 10 seconds less? Maybe more than that. So much, much better radar, as you can see. It's kind of its gimmick now that they've nerfed the Stalingrad's radar down. But Moskva's a great ship, honestly. If you're thinking about picking it up for coal, it's a really good ship still. It's just, yeah, not the most interesting ship, I would say. It's just really, really good at that long-range support and long-range radar. So that was the match. I hope you enjoyed a game where I didn't really play particularly well for the win. And just looking at team positioning, it's kind of interesting to watch your teammates sometimes, isn't it? So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.